we've brought 35 creative practitioners and researchers from across India and the UK to NID in Ahmedabad to kind of think of projects together, to engage with each other, to get inspired by each other, and of course, get inspired by the city that they're in. The lab this year has focused on the theme of future cities. What we've sought to explore is really a departure from most of the dialogue around cities, both in India and elsewhere in the world, which has been so much about technology and large-scale policy. We wanted to see how a group of interesting people could relook cities and look at more people-centered solutions around cities. So while there's been this thematic focus, the lab has also been a space for people to take a pause and for people to kind of get out of where they're coming from, get out of their comfort zones, and really be empathetic and learn from other practices, other people. And each of the 35 people that we have here represent a very, very strong individual practice, but also come as extremely inspiring and nice people to be around and learn from.
The idea of future cities, specifically within this context, was something that I found quite appealing because it felt a lot more interesting than doing it, say, in London, where you kind of look around and London's always already striving to be the future city. It's full of glass and steel, but actually kind of looking at it through a different prism and using somewhere like Ahmedabad as your jump off seemed like a potentially a lot more friction in it as a conversation, I think.
Also, a space like NID is really valuable because the amount of varied influences it brings and this creative energy that it holds. And Ahmedabad itself as an archetype of a city has so many facets which can be broadened into what does it mean for an Indian city, but also therefore what it means for a city of London to contrast itself with. I think that has been a very fundamentally immersive experience for them to explore the city, bring it back and build their projects around some of the issues that they encountered.
I think the topic was absolutely critical, and placing it here in India and then specifically in Ahmedabad, which I think is the right decision. I think too often we talk about global cities. Actually, it's these cities that are driving the future. So I think this, for me, charts the beginning of a discourse, because only when you democratize the future of a city in its discourse can you hope to democratize its reality in 20 years' time.
I don't see this as a platform to say, oh, this is a great idea, let's just do this and this is the solution. But in ways to understand what other people are trying to do in this space, maybe at the end of 2 weeks to have a sense of what we could do.
I think what I hoped to get out of UnBox was a unique experience in a new place with a whole bunch of new exciting people and the opportunity to explore and experiment a little bit with the idea of future cities and really getting the most out of the cross-cultural collaboration. And I'm really excited about what might come from the seeds of collaborations that we've started here into something much bigger and long-lasting in days to come, years, months, weeks to come.
Certainly for me, I've had to really understand how I design for the context of the city. But actually we can't design for now, we have to design for the future and how do we think about the future. So I think it's that sort of that exploration of how you make a team and how you unpick something quite complicated like the future.
I think trying to allow people to feel very secure in this open framework has been difficult for some people, but I wouldn't shy away from that. I think this is definitely the future of how we need to go, and to face the future now in an uncomfortable, disruptive, yet safe and sharing an open UnBox situation feels highly relevant for me. So yeah, I've enjoyed this lab and the tensions that that's created, because if we don't, it's business as usual, and we can't do that, we know that.
The projects are all very, very different, I think, and this is so. Some people are in a very conceptual space, other people have been making for 2 days already. So that's one of the joys of having so many participants, I suppose, is that you have enough teams that you can get a range of outcomes. I think they're all setting their own criteria for success, really. So as long as they're happy with where they get to on Friday, I guess we're happy.
UnBox has been a very valuable process of discovering who is doing things that are innovative in India and in the UK. It's brought people together from both countries, which is exactly what we like to do. That's what we call cultural relations. And specifically, I think, to the UnBox Lab, it's about the fact that British Council likes to foster dialogue and thought leadership.
For me, I definitely am not looking at the lab as an end. So a lot of, I think, ambiguity that was created in the initial parts of the lab was actually fantastic for me, because I'm looking at this as giving a direction for the next 15 or 20 years of my practice. The end results speak for themselves. I don't think this process could have been any different, frankly. If you know in the first day or first 2 days what you want to end up with, then everything else is a con job. I mean, you've predicted an outcome and then you're post-rationalizing everything to match that sort of preconceived notion. And I think what UnBox does fantastically well is they take away every single preconceived notion. They throw you into the mix, and it's 2 weeks that you cannot possibly curate in any other way.
The UnBox Festival has always had the fellowships as a very integral part of the festival itself, and it's been a great opportunity to explore the values that we associate with the festival. Open-minded sharing, cross-cultural collaboration, cross-disciplinary inspiration and making friends. So we hope that through the lab and the 2 weeks that they've spent here, we'll have a whole bunch of people who go away inspired with each other's work and more reflective of their own practices.